I'll continue with the previous class. We started discussing of these features in the previous class. So we will see from these features. Okay, features of augmented languages is one of the important features are overloading and inheritance. Okay, this overloading has another name. We can call it as polymorphism. There's a yes. Screen share అవ్వట్లేదా?
No, ma'am.
Okay, is this a problem with all?
Yes, ma'am.
Screen ఎవరికి share అవ్వట్లేదా?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's check once again.
No, ma'am.
Is my voice is clear or is there any break?
Clear, ma'am.
Clear గానే ఉంది.
Clear అవుతుంది, ma'am. Clear.
నెట్ ప్రాపర్ గానే ఉంది అయితే మరి ఎందుకని స్క్రీన్ షేర్ అవ్వట్లేదు?
ఇప్పుడు షేర్ అవుతుంది మేడం. అవుతుంది మేడం.
getting a screen వస్తుందా చూడండి. సో ఒక్కసారి ఇంకెవరికైనా ప్రాబ్లం ఉంటే రీకనెక్ట్ అయ్యి చూడండి. Is it is okay?
Yes, ma'am.
This feature is the features of OOPS language, OOPS concepts. Okay. So overloading is nothing but will create the same name of the function is used for different types of arguments or different number of arguments. Okay, that is called as the function overloading. Okay, that is what the function which is already available or more task is added to the function. Okay, here that is added with the help of by changing the number of arguments in the function or by giving the different types of arguments to the function. Okay. So inheritance is deriving a class from the another class. Okay, that is if the class is already available and you are creating a one more new class, okay, then that is called as a inheritance. Okay, the existing class is called as the parent class. Okay, the existing class is called as the parent class. And the new classes which are created are called as the child classes. Okay, these two are the child classes. Okay, the child classes will get the all the properties and functions of the base class to the child class. And also it has the its own properties and functions. Okay. So the same data members and functions are used by the both the child classes. Okay, savings account has the savings account will get the variable holder, number and balance. Okay, these three variables and withdraw functions. Okay, those all five variables and functions will get to the savings account class. And additionally, it has a one more variable is interest rate. And it has one more function is booking. Okay, so you can book the savings account. Okay, for the normal account, irrespective of the type of the account, each and every account has the holder name, account number, and balance. Okay, if it is the account is a savings account, okay, then it has additionally the interest rate. Okay, for the current account, we don't have interest rate. So for savings accounts, you have the interest rate. And also you have the booking. So a booking function is you can book the savings account or you can book the some amount is to be transferred to the savings account or something. Another one is Gyro account, okay, where we have the same variables: holder, account holder, account number, balance, deposit and withdraw. These are common for all the accounts, so those all will get to the Gyro account class also. And additionally, it has the credit line, debit interest and credit interest. Okay, whenever you are doing a debit, you have a debit interest. Whenever you are doing a credit, you have a credit interest. Okay. Okay, and you also have a two functions are transfer and standing order. You can transfer this account and you can create a standing order for this accounts. Okay, so whatever the common variables and common functions are there, those are derived from those are get from the parent classes, and child class will have the additional variables and functions. Okay, the better example for this inheritance in the our programming is, say for example, assume that there is a school or some educational organization. Assume that there is some educational organization like a school or something. Okay, okay, this school is computerized, and they have an application is they have a computer based application to maintain the students data. And at that time, whenever they are going to computerized, okay, there is only 10 classes of a 10 classes are used 10 classes are allowed in the school. So the application is providing the different forms and different types of actions related to the 1 to 10th class. Okay. Okay, after 10 years, okay, that is school is established 10 years back, and now the school wants to increase it, and they want to take a 11th and 12th standard students also. They want to take a 11th and 12th standard students also. Okay, then, so up to 10th class, we have a common variables and common data for the students. Okay, students has 6 subjects. Okay, and all have the 6 subjects of maths and 6 subjects related teachers and others. But whenever you are coming to the 11th standard and 12th standard, here we have the groups. Okay, MPC, MEC, CEC, MEC, like this we have the groups. And we have different languages like Telugu, English, Hindi, Sanskrit, something. So we have students are with the different groups, and they will be have the options to select the language whatever they want to learn. So from the whenever you are changing the application to accept the 11th and 12th standard students, okay, you need to change your existing application to add these all data. Okay, that is this existing application, existing software, you have to change to take the 11th and 12th standard students data also. Okay, so for that, without disturbing the existing application, because it is developed 10 years before, okay, the programmer may not be available now. Okay, so a new organization will take this software, and they don't go for existing software, they don't disturb the existing software. Okay, just they will add one more class as a inter student. Okay, they just create a class as a inter student, and within that they will add all the required variables. Okay, branch of the student and subjects of the student and the second language of the student. Okay, these all will be added into that class, and they will write the required functions. Okay, this class is just linked to the existing software classes. Okay, by giving the inheritance. Okay, by specifying the inheritance. Okay, this new class is added to the existing classes. Okay, so that without disturbing and without doing any changes to the existing software, we can add the new features or new classes to the existing software, so that we can extend the software. Okay, we can extend the software without disturbing the existing one. Okay, that is a basic advantage of this having an inheritance. Okay, so at present we are getting a number of versions for the softwares. Every day we are getting one new version of the each and every softwares. Okay, before to 20 years back, whenever you have to design even new operating system, it takes a 3 to 4 years or 5 years of a time to get the next version of the operating system. But now it is taking only 1 year of a time to get the next version of the operating system. Okay, why? Because there is a features like this, inheritance features. Okay, without disturbing the existing softwares and existing versions, they are creating the new features as the new classes and just attaching to the existing one. Okay, so that only we are getting updations also daily. Daily we are getting updations of the software, so that just we can add that updations. Okay, we will get the new features with that softwares. Okay, those all are possible with the help of this inheritance. Okay, so that only inheritance, this object oriented programming is this much familiar due to this inheritance feature. Okay, so all our present languages are object oriented languages, except whatever the language we are using at present, C language. Except that all other languages are present all other languages are object oriented languages. Okay, so that only we are discussing these all features of the object oriented programming. Okay, next is already we have discussed the function overloading. Okay, similarly there is a operator overloading is also there within the our object oriented programming. Okay, so function overloading is we are using the same name of the function for different ways, are in the different arguments, are with the different functionalities. But whenever you are using operator overloading, okay, we have already the existing operators within the language, like arithmetic operators, relational, logical, bitwise. Like this we have number of operators. Those operators we can overload by specifying a different functionality for the operators. Okay, that is we cannot change the main objective of the operator. Actually the operator plus is for addition. Okay, we cannot change this functional, that is we cannot change the objective of the operator. Okay, that is we cannot change the plus operation as plus operators to be performed a multiplication or subtraction or something other. It will perform the addition, but it will perform the addition on different types of values. Okay, generally addition is done for the numeric values. Okay, either float values or double values or long values or integer values. But we can use this plus operator, okay, to add the two records, like a two students data is there. I have two students data. I want to add that two students data. Okay, then I can use the plus operator can be overloaded to add the two students data, or to I want to add the two employees data, or I want to add the two products data. Okay, that is which are not standard data types. I want to implement this plus operator to work with the our user defined data types. Okay, that we can do with the help of operator overloading. Okay, we can overload the operators, that is we can define the our own functionality to the operator, okay, by specifying the operator overloading. Okay, but we cannot change the objective of the operators. Okay, okay, this is one of the feature in the object oriented programming, that is operator overloading. Okay, we can overload the two different items, that is one is the operator and another one is the functions. Okay, if it is a function we'll use the same name. If it is an operator we will use the same operator as same as existing operator, but we'll use the different data types. Okay, and next feature is the encapsulation. Encapsulation is, I will call it as hiding. Okay, or we can call it as a grouping. Okay, grouping ani, otherwise we are providing a restriction on the a particular values or particular data. Okay, then that is called as the encapsulation. That is say for example some encapsulation can be defined like say for example you are entered into the college. Okay, once you entered into the college, you have a limitations. That is, this campus is limitation for you. Only within the campus, whatever the things are there, you are accessible, and you are accessible to all the things within the campus, and all the other members of the campus is also access you. Okay. That is, you are limited to this particular campus. Until unless you are in the campus, you are limited to this particular campus only. Okay. So all these are the public for you. Okay. You can access anything in the campus, and you can interact with anyone in the campus. Okay. So but you are encapsulated from others, that is from other colleges or from other places. You are encapsulated, that is, you are not visible to the other members directly whenever you are in the campus. Okay. So as the same way, here in the classes, the encapsulation is you are limiting a data members to the functions of that particular class. So whatever the data members are there in the class, okay, those data members are limited to that particular functions of the class only. Until unless the class members are in the class, okay, those members are limited to that particular functions. Okay, that is, you are making a grouping of these data and functions as a one unit, so that you are limiting the access of the data members to that particular class. Okay. So you are making it a restriction, or you are making a border to the data members. Okay. So by combining these data and functions as a single unit, okay, you are making a limitation for the data members to be visible and to be accessible only within the class. Okay. So the encapsulation can be defined as restricting the access of the variables or access of the members of a class to the functions of that particular class by making the combination of data and functions as a single unit. By making the combination of data and functions as a single unit. Okay. So by combining the data and functions as a single unit, you can restrict your data members without accessing by the other members of the outside the class, and you can limit their border or their limitation to the class only, so that you can provide the security to the data. Okay. Okay, next. This is one of the important feature, encapsulation. Okay, like this. So here you have a data members like some variables. Okay, surname of the account holder, pre-name, address, profession, and birthday. Okay, generally whenever you are going to the any software or any company application, the data is very secured. The data is to be maintained as a very secured compared to all other things in that particular organization. Okay, because the data cannot be revealed as free as. Okay, so that this data is making as a restricted access. Okay, so to access these data members and to work with these data members, okay, it is providing us some functions. Okay, so without having a direct access to the data members, you can access the data members with the help of these functions. Change the residence, that is, you can change the residence value using this function. Change of profession, you can change the profession value using this function. Get the birthday, set the birthday, get the surname, set the surname. Okay, those all, that is accessing of that variables you can do with the help of a functions only. Okay, if there is a function to change the particular data, then only you can change. Otherwise, you are not able to change the data of the class. Okay, say if there is a set birthday, you can change the birthday value. Say if there is no function like a set birthday, you have only get birthday function, then you can get the birthday value only. You cannot set the birthday value. Okay, so like this you can provide the restriction to the data in accessing, like changing or assigning or retrieving. Okay, those all we can restrict with the help of this combining of data and functions as a single unit. Okay. Okay, next polymorphism. This is actually the polymorphism is combined with already discussed two features, function overloading and operator overloading. Okay, function overloading, operator overloading. Okay, okay. Not only these two, we have one more is there in the polymorphism. That is, we will call it as overriding. Overriding. Okay, we have difference in overloading and overriding. Okay, overloading is we are adding a more load, that is more task or more work is assigned to the same person is the overloading. Overriding is you are hiding the existing one and you are projecting the another one with the equal figure or equal projection, we can call. Say for example, if there is a person A, if there is a person A in your one A, and I have one more person, the newly added a one more person as A. So whenever you are seeing from here, first you can see this A only. You can see this A. Okay, because this is this A is hided the previous one, this A variable. Okay, that is, this is hided by this A. So whenever you are viewing from here, you can see only this A. This is hided already. Okay, so this is called as overriding. That is, we are hiding the existing one with a new one. Okay, so that we will call it as the overriding. This is also called as a polymorphism. Okay, actually poly is nothing but many, morphism is ways, number of ways. Poly is many, morphism is ways. Okay, number of ways. Okay, whenever you are using a one particular name in a number of ways, or one particular object is used in the number of ways, then we will call it as the polymorphism. Okay, say for example, I have a wooden box, and if you are using that wooden box for the different types of ways, like same wooden box you can use to place some grocery items, or you can use the same wooden box to place the books, or same wooden box can be used to place the cloths, a same wooden box can be used as an chair or as an stool. Okay, that is same box is using in the different ways, then that is called as a polymorphism. Okay. So using a same object or a same item for a number of ways is called as a polymorphism. Okay. So in the object-oriented programming, this is also the one of the important feature in the object-oriented programming. Okay, why? Because while implementing this polymorphism, will be feel something difficult, or will be feel like why we require these many number of functions, why we require to overload, or why we require to override. Okay, but whenever you are using the object-oriented programming language, okay, like say for example Java or something, if you are using, okay, then you will get this benefit of this polymorphism. Okay, okay, that is especially whenever you are using the same name of the function for different types of tasks. Okay, you also have a benefit in the Python. You can observe, okay, the print function can be used for different types of data types. Say for example, using a print function, you can print a number, that is, you can pass the argument as a number. You can pass the print of, you can pass a string, that is, you can pass the string to print the string, and you can pass a normal variable is a number variable to print the number, or you can also use the print to print the any object like a list or dictionary or something. That is, the function name is same, but you are passing a different types of arguments to print the those arguments. Say for example, if the Python is not providing a single function, it is providing a different functions. If you want to print a number, you use to another function, and if you want to print a string, you need to use another function. If you want to print the list, you need to use another function. Say if it is providing a different names, then you have to remember all that names to print your different variables. Okay, irrespective of that, it is providing only one name to print all the different types of variables. Okay, so that your benefit is you are required to remember only one function name. You need not to remember the number of function names to print the different types of variables. Okay, that is a basic advantage of overloading these functions. Okay, we need not to remember the number of function names. Okay, next. Okay, polymorphism, just an example this. Okay, we may have the number of operating systems. Okay, like Windows, Mac OS and Ubuntu or something. Okay, all operating systems purpose is same, but we have different types of operating systems. Okay. Once try to answer these questions. What is called when a function is defined inside a class? Somebody answer first question. What is called when a function is defined inside a class? Is it called as a module or as a class or another function or a method? ఏమంటాం క్లాస్ లో డిఫైన్ చేసే ఫంక్షన్ ని మాడ్యూల్ కాదు
Method.
method. Good. Because it's a function, but we cannot call it as another function. It's not a class because it is in the class. It is a function, it's not a class, so it's not. A, B is wrong. It's not a module, so it is also wrong. The correct answer is method. Okay. So second one, which of the following represents a distinctly identifiable entity in the real world? That is differently identifiable entity. Entity is nothing but a collection, an object. Okay. Which of the following represents a distinctly identifiable entity in the real world?
An object.
A class, the first one is a class, an object, a method, a data field. Distinctly identifiable entity, that is it has a differences in the each and every instance. Okay, so that is the object. Okay, okay, because the class is the same for all the throughout the program, the class is the same, method is the same, data field is the same, but whenever you are instantiating the class, okay, that will be differentiated with the different data. Okay, so the B is the correct answer. The third one, which of the following statements is most accurate for the declaration x equals to circle brackets? Here the circle is a class and you are creating an object for the circle class. X is the object, circle is the class. Okay, okay, what we can call this statement? Okay, how we can specify, that is how we can explain this statement? Okay, which one is correct?
Contains reference to a circle object.
Which option?
C, ma'am.
C. Okay, the C option is X contains a reference to a circle object. Sorry, it's not correct. Okay, it's a wrong. The B is the right. X contains an object of the circle type. That is your.
You can assign an int value of x, ma'am.
Pardon?
Nothing, ma'am.
Okay. X contains an object, that is X is an object of the type circle class. So X is a variable of type circle class. Okay, the C option, why it is wrong is X contains a reference to a circle object. Okay, this is called as, say for example, I have one more variable like x1 equals to x. Okay, this statement you can explain as C, because x1 is a reference to the x variable and x variable is an object of circle class. Okay, x1 is a reference of x. Okay, so that is x1 is the reference object of the circle class object. Okay, so in the first option, x contains an int value, it's not a int value, so it's a wrong. You can assign an int value to a x, it is also wrong. Okay, so next, fourth one, which of the following statements are correct? First statement, a reference variable is an object. A reference variable refers to an object. Third one, an object may contain other objects. Fourth one, an object can contain the references to the other objects.
B, ma'am.
B. Good. Okay. So B is the correct. A reference variable refers to an object. Okay. A reference variable, this is a reference variable, refers to an object. Okay. This variable refers to this object. Okay. Reference variable is an object. This is not actually the physical object. Okay. This is a virtual object. రిఫరెన్స్ వేరియబుల్ అనేది ఫిజికల్గా ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అయి ఉండదు, వర్చువల్గా ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అవుతుంది, అంటే ఇమాజినరీ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఆర్ సినానిమ్ టు ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, అండ్ థర్డ్ ఆప్షన్, అన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ మే కంటైన్ అదర్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్, ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కెనాట్ కంటైన్ ద అదర్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్, దట్స్ రాంగ్. An object can contain the references to other objects, that is also wrong. Okay, my object cannot contain the references to the other objects. Okay, it can have the references to the same type of object only, but it doesn't contain the other objects as a references. Okay, so these are the small questions, there is a small bits which are related to the our OOPS concepts. Okay, next, we will see the syntax of creating a class. Okay, so as up to now we have discussed what is mean by the object-oriented programming and the difference between the object-oriented programming and procedural programming, and we have seen the different features of the object-oriented programming. Okay, those are the encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, function overloading, operator overloading. Okay, these all we have seen. Okay, now we'll go for implementing of these features. Okay, for this implementing of these features, first we require the class. Okay, class is a user defined data type, okay, which is used to combine the data members and member functions as a one group, as a one collection. Okay, so that the member function can access the data member and data member can be accessible by the member functions. Okay, so for that purpose we require to create the class. Without creating the class we cannot do any object-oriented programming features or programming. Okay, so with the class creation only we can do anything. So for creating of these classes we require the class keyword. Okay, and within we require to specify the name of the class, and then we will mention the data members required and member functions required. Okay, okay, so the data can also be called as attributes, and the functions can also be called as methods, member functions or methods. Member function is also the one of the name we can use for the methods, and data members, okay, is the attributes or variables. Okay, so that it starts with the class keyword, class name. Okay, you need to mention the class name as it has the same restriction similar to the variable. It should not be a keyword. It must be started with the alphabet, and it can contain alphabets and numbers and underscore symbol. Other than that, we cannot include any other special characters, and it should not be repeated. That is, it must be unique. Okay, with that class name, we cannot write any data member or any function or any other variable we cannot create with the name of class name. So once you are specified any particular name to the class, okay, that name cannot be used for the any other variables or functions. Okay. Okay, this is the syntax of the class. Syntax of the class. Example is class keyword. Okay, the name of the class. Some example class name as party animal colon. Okay, this is the data member. This is the data member. Okay, we have created a one variable x equals to the initial value as 0. Next, here the member function def, the function definition. We can start with the def. Party is the function name. For each and every function, you should have a one default parameter is the self. Okay, this is self. It must be given for each and every function. Each and every member function, it must have one parameter as self. Okay, this is a keyword. We cannot change this spelling. Self and a word keyword, then change cheyakodu. Okay, so each and every function of the class, it has the first parameter as self, and after that we can give the any number of parameters, but first parameter must be the self. Okay. Okay, this parameter advantage is to use or to access any variables or functions of the class in that particular function. Okay, that is in this party function, if I want to use the variables of this class, then I require this self. Okay, so to use this x variable, I can use it as self.x, self.x plus 1. Okay, that is self is nothing but it's similarly called as this centum ante current class. At present, whatever the class is there, okay, the class related reference, the actual word is the current class reference. Current class ki sambandhinchina reference. So using that, we can access any of the variables or functions of that class. Okay, or we can call it as current class object. Current class ki sambandhinchina reference or object anachu deenni. Okay, so print so far comma self.x variable. It displays the x variable value. Okay, so this is the ending of the class. Up to this, we have created the class with a one data member and one member function. Now we need to access this. Now we need to use this class. That is, we need to use this data type. Party animal is a class which is a data type created. Now we want to use this data type. For that, you need to create an object for that particular class. So party animal is the class and an is the object. Okay, this is the object. Okay, what we will call this statement? Is statement name anta? Okay, we have a separate name for this statement. What will call this statement? Okay, this statement is, I am writing here, instantiation or instance creation. Okay, instantiation. Okay, or we can call it as instance creation. Okay, so this is a statement which is called as instantiation or instance creation. Okay, so now once after creating the object, now then you can call the functions of that class. Okay, here we are calling 3 times the function and.party, and.party, and.party. Okay, it has to show the 3 times the data. Okay, So I will first try to create this class. I'll write a one sample program to create the class. Okay. Write a program to create student as number name. Just only two variables I require, number and name. Okay, with that we need to create a student class. Display values. So you need this class to have the two data members. One is number and another one is name, and there should be a one member function to display the values. Okay. So now we'll create the class some number and name equals to some name. Now we'll create the function def. The function name as display. You can write any name. Okay, there is no restriction of the function names. You can use the any name. Display. There should be a one common must and should parameter is self colon to display this number and name in the function. Number equals to no variable value comma equals to name variable value. Just we are displaying those values. Now come out of the class. Now create the object for this class. S equals to student. Now it's created the object. Now call the function of the class display. S dot. So whatever the functions or whatever the members you want to use within the class, you can use with the object only. We cannot directly call the display. Okay, because display is within the student, so we can use that with the student class object. Student object is S, so S dot display. To స్ట్రక్చర్స్ ఎట్లయితే మనం స్ట్రక్చర్ వేరియబుల్తో యూజ్ చేస్తామో సేమ్ యాజ్ ఇక్కడ కూడా క్లాస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ తోటి క్లాస్లో ఉన్న వేరియబుల్స్ కానీ మెథడ్స్ కానీ యూజ్ చేయాలి. నౌ సేవ్ ద ఫైల్. Name and number, sorry. Okay, number is 123, name is ABC. Okay, so we created the two data members, number and name, with the initial values as 123 and name equals to ABC. Okay, now within the display function we can display those number and name. Okay, so all of you once note down this small example. Okay, is all of you noted it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
This is some lengthy class. Okay, we don't go into that. We'll go for next. Okay. We can also use this class. Sorry. Actually, each and every Python program is a module. Okay, so that whenever you want to use this class in any other programs, you can just import this class in this file name as a module, and then you can use this class in the another programs. Okay, that is also available. Say for example, this is a student class. The program name is class1.py. Say if you are creating a one more file, here you can write it as import class1 because your file name is class1. Now here you can create the object for your student and you can call the s1.display. So you are using that class function, the class and class function within the another program. Okay, like by importing the program as a module. Okay. Name student is not defined.
Ma'am, from class 1 import student, it need to be like that.
Particular చేయడానికి యూస్ చేస్తాం. It is specifically if you want to import one particular class, we can do like that. వస్తుంది. Okay, and two programs రెండు ఎందుకు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతున్నాయి? Okay, sorry, here also we are calling the display function, and display function call చేసిన ఇది ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ కాకూడదు కదా. Okay, only class వరకే మనం యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం, but it is executing this also. Okay, it's executing both the two display functions. Okay, because this display function is already in the outside the class. So whenever you call whenever you are creating a module, whenever you are accessing this module, okay, it's by default executing this code also.
Replace with its student, ma'am, so that it executes for one time, ma'am. Once replace S1 with student, ma'am, it means storing of replace S1 with student, ma'am, so that it executes for one time.
No, it doesn't do like that. Otherwise we can test by removing it. So now it's executed for one time. If you are created only the class, then it will execute only one time. Okay, in both the programs we are accessing the class, so that it is executing for two times. Otherwise ikkada మనం same variable మళ్ళీ create చేయాలి. S1 అని create చేసి యూస్ చేయొచ్చు. Okay, so there is a facility is like this. Okay, you can use that program as a module, and you can import your class and you can access it. Okay, సో ఆ క్లాస్ని మీరు మీకు కావాల్సిన ప్రోగ్రామ్స్లో ఇంపోర్ట్ చేసుకొని యూజ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. సో ఈ ఫెసిలిటీ కూడా ఉంది అనే దానికోసం. Here this is the same class. Okay, you can also use the different types of functions, so which are used to know the types of the variables. Okay, like this. Okay, there is a type function which is used to know the type of the variable. Okay, generally this type function is used to know the type of the particular variable, but here you can use the type of an is it gives a class name. Okay, whatever the class name is there for that particular object, the class name will be given by this type. Okay, so the output of the type is this one. Okay, type is, so class, it's the type of an is, it's a class. Okay, its class name is party animal. Okay, this is in the main, that is outside the, this is in the main scope. There is a class name is party animal. And DIR, the output of a DIR is this one, the second one. Okay, it gives us the complete information of that particular class, description of the object. Okay, so which gives us the class name and also the whatever the functions and whatever the variables are there in that particular class, in that particular object, those all will be given. Okay, like this. Okay, there is some by default variables are there, the class, delete, attribute, size of, str, subclass, book, and weak reference. These are the common variables which we cannot create. That will be created by the Python itself. And party is the function name which is already available in the class, and x is the variable. So it gives all the information, all the attributes and methods available within the class. The next one is type of an.x. Okay, an.x type is int, and an.party type is method. Okay. So using this type function, you can find out the types of the object and type of the variables and functions of that particular class. Okay.
Ma'am, time completed, ma'am.
So I'll go for the next class. Yes, I'm stopping. Okay, they are the constructor and destructor methods, all this. Okay, all of you try to create a one small class and execute it. Okay, by the next class, you just complete that just by try to creating a class and accessing it. Okay. Okay, now you can leave from the class.